Alright, welcome along to a swift little vlog for today. I just wanted to talk about something called shadow work. Now, throughout the channel here in the last couple of months at least, I've been going through some things from my past. And I'm not going to delve too deeply into that, but there is in all of us some sort of childhood trauma somewhere along the line. No matter how well adjusted you think you are, there's chances are there's something there. And I only recently discovered what mine actually was, and something that had absolutely nothing to do with my family life, great parents, great brothers, the whole family circle, absolutely 100% fantastic people. I've been very blessed with the family that I actually have. But it all came from the religious upbringing that I had as a kid. People in life, and really this is a subject for another video, a lot of people in life, they do things to show themselves to people. They're not necessarily doing things because that's what they genuinely believe or feel, let's just say. It's like a social status sort of a thing for a lot of people. And, religion in Northern Ireland had a lot to do with that, I find anyway. Particularly in the 80s, 90s, whenever I was growing up, people were going out to church on a Sunday morning just to be like, oh, look at me, sort of a thing. But taking out their own crap and the people around them. And the church I grew up in literally tore itself apart at one point between the minister and the leaders within the church all fighting with each other. And, looking at it now with grown up eyes, you're starting to see, okay, there was stuff going on there. All these people had their own things going on in life, and the stresses they were going through, they were taking it out somewhere. And, out of snide remarks and whatnot over the years of me and my interests just from these people, just sort of built up and built up and built up over the years. And, a simple comment was said recently that brought all that back for me. So a friend of mine, my best friend, Gillian, actually mentioned something to me about, we should consider shadow work and take a little look into that. So I'm just going to look it up here online. I've actually been doing this sort of stuff. I'm going to give you the definition that what shadow work is just from looking up online on it. So shadow work is a process of exploring and acknowledging parts of yourself that you may have repressed or ignored. 100% accurate. That she was dead on with that. The goal is to integrate these parts into your whole self and to gain a better understanding of yourself and the world around you. Shadow work can help you identify and regulate your emotions, improve self-esteem and self-acceptance, strengthen relationships, learn healthy coping mechanisms, and realise and modify self-sabotaging behaviours. The term shadow self was first developed by Carl Jung, who believes that working with your shadow self could help you become more balanced. Some of the tips of practicing shadow work: analyze what you're avoiding, write down what you're avoiding and consider why you might be doing so. You look curiously, look at those, try to look at these parts of yourself without internalizing them and assuming you're a bad person. And lastly, don't encourage bad behaviour. Embracing your shadow doesn't mean encouraging bad behaviour. While anyone can do shadow work on their own, you should consider seeking out a licensed therapist if you struggle with severe trauma. I would recommend that, definitely. As I say, my stuff, and this isn't the first time I've said this on this channel, my stuff is just stuff that's been holding me back over the years, but it's not something that is like intensely bad. It's just stuff that me personally has kind of shaped me into the people pleaser that I've been over the past 15 to 20 years, and self-esteem not been incredibly high over the years. I don't know how it just activated in the way that it did at the stage of life. Whenever, and this is another subject for another video. The person that I was in the 80s and 90s, if that person could have flourished without all this crap coming to the surface, without me realising it, goodness knows where life would be at the moment, because the guy that I was, particularly in the late 90s, early 2000s, was pretty much no nonsense. Just didn't suffer fools gladly, let's just say. But as you progress through life and you start to settle down ever so slightly, there is some stuff in the background that kind of manifests, comes to the surface, and you don't even realise it's happening. I didn't until recently. It's just something as stupid as an X-Men reference brought this all to the surface, because it just something that happened in the past couple of months just transported me back to a 10-year-old child that went through an insanely similar situation back in the 90s to do with an X-Men comic. Absolutely ridiculous. But it just goes to show you, you never know what the trigger points are for an individual. So I've discovered mine, in a way, through this shadow work. I've been going back through my past, and I've been just reliving things in my own mind. And again, I've been able to do this because it's nothing drastic. Like, I know people go through a hell of a lot worse than what I've gone through. Not to take away from anybody else, but if you are going through something that's deeply damaging, something intensely bad, like, go look up a professional that deals with shadow work and that sort of thing to give you the guidance to go through everything. But simply for me, to go back through and relive a lot of things from my childhood, like right from, like, I've been going back to every day this last 2 to 3 weeks, I have just been taking a bit of time each day. Luckily for me and the job that I'm doing, it's not that I get a lot of free time. I'm constantly working, but I'm on a production line, and it's very repetitive work. So mentally, I can kind of check out of the job ever so slightly, just keep myself concentrating on what I'm doing, but mentally I can just start to go through, okay, right, let's go back to 10, 11-year-old. What was the sort of stuff that was happening? Even further back than that, I've been back to like 7 years old. So, the amount of stories that I have came across throughout the 80s and 90s, I could do a hell of a lot of story times on the channel moving forward here, so look forward to some of them. There's some weird stuff, there's some funny stuff. I'm really beginning to miss the 90s version of Rodney, because he was the person that was fighting back. And, I don't want to put any blame on to my failed marriage and whatnot, but that was a section of my life where the people pleaser started to come out on me, and big time was when I was creating the short film Conclusions. That's on my website, you can go and check it out. Throughout the entire process of that, took a long time to get that off the ground. I think around about 7-8 years it took since conception to actually get that done. And you were constantly trying to please people and not set a foot wrong. You just felt that you had to do everything, please everybody. Biggest mistake I ever made in my life. That really brought the people pleaser to the surface and me, and I just couldn't get my way out of it. So shadow work at this point has been intensely helpful over the last month at least, I'm really starting to get to the core of the issue for myself, and getting more comfortable with myself. So there's a lot of stuff in this video that I've been bouncing off. It could be subjects for their own sorts of videos, but I would highly recommend shadow work. You get a little bit in life, particularly if you fall into that people pleaser sort of a situation. You know, it's frustrating. Kind of lost where I was going there for a second, but you know, it's crazy. It's crazy. It's good stuff. It is good stuff. Shadow work, highly recommend it. So I'm getting a lot more comfortable. That's where we're going. Getting a lot more comfortable with where I'm at, how I got here, and the fact of, you know, just understanding, let's just say, and just starting to understand everything a lot more clearly, getting more comfortable with the person that I am, and keeping myself accountable for my own failures in life. Because, you know, at the end of the day, in my scenario, I don't have anybody to blame but myself. Like, there's a lot of people put this stuff in motion over the years, but at the end of the day, at one point, I gave up fighting and just accepted the view that certain religious people in my life had of me, and kind of lost track of the person that I was, and became the kind of person that, you know, changed my momentum to satisfy other people. So moving forward, that's not going to be happening anymore. But shadow work so far has been a big positive part of this journey. So look it up if you're in that situation, and see if it helps. And if it does, please let me know in the comments. Right, that's going to do it for this video, guys. Stay safe. I will talk to you in the next one.